One of the most powerful decisions a person can make is to take complete and absolute responsibility for their own life. That means everything, not just the good things that happen, not just the moments where the plan works or luck is on your side. It also means the missteps, the failures, the moments where it all falls apart. It means saying, I am where I am because of choices I've made, and not because of luck, the weather, your parents, or the government. Now that might sound harsh, but it's liberating. Because once you take ownership, you also take control. Most people spend their entire lives pointing fingers. It's the economy, it's the boss, it's the spouse, it's the childhood. That path is a dead end, because as long as you blame something or someone else, you have no power to change anything. If someone else is responsible, then someone else has to fix it. And if you wait for the world to change so that your life improves, you'll wait forever. But the moment you decide to own your story, all of it, you step into the driver's seat. That's the first rule to winning in life. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's responsibility. Now, some people confuse blame with responsibility. They say, but it wasn't my fault. Of course, sometimes it's not your fault. You didn't choose to be born in a certain family. You didn't ask for betrayal or heartbreak. Life throws curveballs, but even then, you still have to respond. That's where the word comes from. Responsibility is your ability to respond. So no, it might not be your fault, but it is still your responsibility to heal, to grow, to move forward, because nobody's coming to rescue you. If you don't take charge of your life, someone else will, and they won't do it with your best interest in mind. Taking responsibility doesn't mean living without mistakes. It means owning them. It means learning the lesson, correcting course, and becoming wiser for the next round. You see, life is less about perfection and more about correction. Those who win in life aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who don't stay down. They get back up, they reflect, they adjust. That's personal responsibility in motion. You also have to take responsibility for your mindset, because life doesn't just happen around you. It happens through you. The lens you use to interpret events is everything. Two people can experience the same hardship, but one crumbles while the other grows. Why? Because one took the hardship as a reason to stay stuck, while the other took it as a reason to rise. You may not control every event, but you do control what it means to you. That's where the battle is won or lost, in the meaning. If you want to change your income, change your habits. If you want to change your relationships, change how you show up in them. If you want to change your future, change what you're doing right now. And the only way you'll ever change anything is by first accepting that it's your responsibility, not your neighbors, not your mentors, not your bosses, yours. There's a quiet kind of strength that comes from taking full responsibility. It's not loud or flashy. It doesn't make excuses. It doesn't point fingers. It simply gets to work. It builds, it adjusts, it endures. That strength creates confidence, not the shallow kind based on compliments or trophies, but the real kind based on self-trust. You start to believe in yourself, not because of what others say, but because you've seen yourself follow through. You've proven to yourself that you can choose, act, and overcome. And let me tell you something simple but profound. Once you become the kind of person who takes full responsibility, other areas of your life begin to shift. Your health improves because you stop blaming genetics and start managing your habits. Your finances improve because stop blaming the job and start building skills. Your relationships improve because you stop waiting to be understood and start working to understand. Everything rises when you rise, and rising begins with responsibility. If someone asked you, what's the secret to success? You might be tempted to say hard work or talent or maybe even luck. But if you look closely at people who consistently win in life, those who not only achieve but sustain their success, you'll notice a common thread running through it all. They've mastered their daily habits. They don't leave their progress to chance. They don't wait for motivation or inspiration. They have designed a life that moves them forward through small, disciplined actions repeated day after day. Habits are like the seeds we plant in the soil of time. Every day you water them, and in time they either bear fruit or become thorns. If your daily actions are positive, intentional, and consistent, they will compound into results that seem almost magical. On the other hand, if your habits are careless, reactive, or negative, they'll slowly erode your potential until you're left wondering how you got so far off track. It's not the big decisions once a year that define your life. It's what you do every single day, often when no one is watching, that shapes your destiny. The beauty and the danger of habits is that they work whether you're aware of them or not. If you wake up late, scroll through your phone for 30 minutes, skip breakfast, and then rush out the door already frustrated, that's a habit. If you end every evening with junk food and 2 hours of mindless television, that's a habit. And here's the key: habits don't ask for your permission. They become automatic. That's why mastering them is not just helpful. It's essential. Because if you don't master your habits will master you. Winners understand this. They set their alarm with purpose. They plan their mornings, knowing that how you start your day often determines how you finish it. They read not because someone told them to, but because they understand that feeding the mind is as crucial as feeding the body. They exercise not just for a six-pack or social media photo, but because energy, discipline, and health are the foundation of long-term performance. They review their goals often, track their progress, and make adjustments. And most importantly, they protect their routines with the same seriousness others reserve for emergencies. When you turn your actions into systems, you free yourself from relying on willpower. Willpower is like a battery. It drains fast. But structure, routine, and automation are more like an engine that keeps running. When you build the right habits, momentum begins to carry you. That's why it's better to create a system where success becomes the default rather than something you have to force every time. Make the decision once, then let your habits repeat it 1,000 times. Most people underestimate the power of small actions repeated over time. Reading 10 pages a day doesn't sound like much, but over a year, that's over 600 pages, more than many people read in a decade. Doing 10 push-ups a day doesn't make headlines, but over a year, that's over 600 push-ups. Saving a small amount every day doesn't feel impressive, but it builds a financial cushion that can change your life. You see, the compounding effect of habits is invisible in the short term, but inevitable in the long term. Of course, not all habits are physical. Some of the most important ones happen in your thoughts. Do you talk to yourself with doubt or with confidence? Do you complain more than you express gratitude? Do you see problems or do you see possibilities? These patterns of thought are habits too. And just like physical habits, they can be rewired. The brain is adaptable, but only if you train it. You get good at whatever you repeat, whether that's worrying, procrastinating, or solving problems. When you understand the value of a single day, you begin to treat your time differently. You stop wasting hours on things that have no return. You stop letting distractions steal your future. You start to see each day as a brick in the house you're building. You may not see the full structure today, but you know that laying each brick with care will eventually create something solid, something real. That's the mindset of someone who's mastered their habits, not driven by excitement, but by commitment, not by occasional motivation, but by daily discipline, not chasing success, but becoming the kind of person success is attracted to through what they choose to do every single day. Your environment shapes you far more than you realize, and the most powerful part of your environment is the people you surround yourself with. You become a reflection of the conversations you engage in, the standards you tolerate, the values you absorb, and the energy you allow into your life. If you walk with winners, you begin to think like one. If you stay around complainers, you start to echo their language. Whether you rise or fall is often determined not by your intention, but by your association. You can have big dreams, powerful goals, and a heart full of ambition. But if the people closest to you don't support that, you're rowing against a current that's pulling you backward. It's not always the loud critics that slow you down. Sometimes it's the subtle doubters, the ones who smile but never believe, the ones who say they support you but quietly hope you don't outgrow them. And that's the test. because loyalty to people who are holding you back is not noble. It's self-sabotage. There's a simple law of life: you rise to the level of your peer group. If your friends are growth-minded, disciplined, and courageous, you will start to match their pace. They won't let you settle. Their standards will challenge your comfort zone. They'll ask you questions that force you to think deeper, act bolder, and keep growing. They won't just cheer for your success. They'll expect it. That kind of environment doesn't just push you forward, it pulls you upward. On the other hand, if your circle is filled with people who avoid responsibility, blame others, and seek comfort over growth, that mindset becomes contagious. You don't even notice it at first. A joke here, a criticism there, a passive attitude, a lazy afternoon. It all adds up. Slowly, your fire dims, your standards lower, and your goals seem a little less urgent. Not because you've changed your values, but because you've let the wrong voices shape your reality. And make no mistake, energy is infectious. Whether it's positive or negative, focused or distracted, you will catch it. Now, this isn't about being judgmental or arrogant. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about understanding that your future is too important to be negotiated with mediocrity. It's about knowing that who you spend time with is not a casual decision. It's a strategic one. You are building a life, not just passing time. And just as a builder chooses the right tools, you must choose the right relationships, ones that sharpen you, fuel you, and align with the person you're becoming. Sometimes that means having difficult conversations. Sometimes it means stepping back from people who used to be close. Not out of anger, but out of growth. You don't need to hate them. You just can't let them slow you down. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Some were part of your history, but not your destiny. And if you spend your energy dragging people who don't want to grow, you'll lose momentum for your own climb. On the flip side, when you do find those who match your ambition and share your values, treat those relationships like gold. Protect them, invest in them, and grow together. Iron sharpens iron. Sometimes one conversation with the right person can shift your mindset for a lifetime. A mentor, a friend, a partner. They can see what you can't, challenge what you've ignored, and remind you of who you really are when you forget. Surrounding yourself with the right people isn't just about success. It's about becoming who you were meant to be. It's about walking into rooms where the conversation is bigger than gossip and complaints, where people talk about ideas, not just other people, where growth is normal, not rare, where you feel challenged, not drained. That kind of environment doesn't just affect your mood. It reprograms your identity. It lifts your vision, strengthens your belief, and demands your best. When you surround yourself with people who expect more of you, you begin to expect more from yourself. And that's where transformation begins, not in isolation, but in alignment with the right company. One of the foundational truths in life is that you don't get what you want. You get what you earn. You don't receive because you ask loud enough or because you've been waiting long enough. You receive when you've become the kind of person who brings value to the table, not just demand. The marketplace doesn't care about your needs, your hopes, or your dreams. It responds to value. And value is something you build, not something you wish for. Too many people go through life wondering why they're not getting paid more, noticed more, appreciated more. They say things like, I deserve better, but they haven't become better. They want the rewards without doing the work. They want applause without performance. But the world doesn't work that way. The system of life is very fair. In the long run, you get paid in direct proportion to the value you deliver. Not the hours you show up, not how long you've been around, but how much value you bring and how effectively that value meets a need. Building value starts with understanding your role in every relationship, every job, every transaction. Ask yourself, what am I really contributing here? Because the rewards come after the contribution, not before. You don't get healthy and then start working out. You work out and then you get healthy. You don't become wealthy and then start providing solutions. You provide solutions and wealth begins to find its way to you. This is a law of the universe. You must plant before you harvest. You must serve before you earn. And here's where it gets interesting. Value isn't just in doing what's asked. That's the minimum. Real value comes when you go beyond that, when you find a way to solve a problem before someone even mentions it, when you anticipate, create, lead. That's when people take notice. That's when the doors start opening. The reward doesn't follow the average, it follows the exceptional. And the exceptional begins with a mindset of service, not entitlement. You see, most people are trying to get more out of life without putting more into it. They say, I want a better job, but they haven't improved their skills. They say, I want a better relationship, but they haven't become a better partner. They want to receive more, but give the same. But that's not how the game is played. Life rewards transformation, not stagnation. If you want to change your income, change your input. If you want to change your results, change your approach. It always starts with building more value. Sometimes people confuse effort with value. They say, I worked really hard, as if effort alone guarantees reward. But effort is not enough. It must be effective effort. It must be directed towards solving a meaningful problem. If you work hard digging holes in the wrong field, the crop still won't grow. That's why self-awareness and learning are part of building value. You have to know what the world needs, and then grow yourself to meet that need. And when you do, you become rare. And the marketplace always rewards the rare. Building value also means being consistent. One day of excellence won't get you far, but repeated excellence, that becomes your reputation. And your reputation is the magnet that draws opportunities, trust, and wealth toward you. People don't invest in what they don't trust, and trust is earned through value delivered over time, without excuses, without shortcuts. When people know they can count on you to show up, deliver, and care, that's when your stock rises in any area of life. And the beautiful part is, building value is always within your control. You may not control the economy, your upbringing, or how others treat you, but you can control how much value you bring. You can wake up early, learn something new, master your craft, offer help, improve your communication, refine your attitude. These are choices. And when you stack those choices day after day, you build something that others can't ignore. You build leverage, you build worth. You build a reputation that works for you even when you're not in the room. Because the truth is, the most successful people don't chase rewards. They attract them. And they attract them by becoming valuable, not just by asking for value in return. One of the greatest mistakes people make in life is underestimating the power of time. They get so focused on what they want right now that they forget what they truly want later. They get so caught up in today's pleasure that they trade away tomorrow's peace. But the winners in life, the ones who build something lasting, have a different mindset. They think long term. They look beyond the week, beyond the month, beyond the season. And yet, even while they hold a long-term vision, they act with urgency today. That combination is rare. That combination is powerful. Thinking long-term doesn't mean you ignore the present. It means you give the present a deeper purpose. Most people wake up and ask, what do I feel like doing today? But a long-term thinker wakes up and asks, what should I be doing today to become who I want to be? The difference is massive. One is driven by emotion. The other is driven by mission. And your mission is what gives you the strength to do the hard thing today, because you understand the reward is not instant, but inevitable if you stay the course. The danger of short-term thinking is that it's seductive. It promises quick rewards, fast results, easy wins. But almost every shortcut in life comes with a hidden toll. You borrow from your future to feel good now. You skip the workout, you save time, but you lose health. You avoid the difficult conversation, you save discomfort, but you lose trust. You spend what you don't have, you enjoy for a moment, but you trap yourself in debt. And these decisions made again and again become a lifestyle, not because people don't care, but because they never learned how to lift their eyes from the moment and look down the road. But when you think long term, your decisions take on a new kind of clarity. You stop asking, what's the easiest thing? And start asking, what's the right thing? You stop chasing trends and start building principles. You don't rush to get ahead. You commit to grow so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready. The long game isn't about being the loudest or the fastest. It's about being the most consistent. It's about becoming the person who can not only climb the mountain, but stay there when others fall. And this kind of thinking is not just for business or finance. It applies to every part of life. If you think long-term in your relationships, you invest more, you listen better, you build deeper bonds. If you think long-term in your learning, you study harder, you reflect more, you grow wiser. If you think long-term with your character, you build habits that you're proud to live with, not just ones that impress others for a moment. Because what you're building isn't just success, it's identity. And that's what lasts. But vision alone is not enough. You can have the clearest picture of your future, but if you don't act today, that vision will fade into regret. That's why the second half of this principle matters just as much. Act today, because today is all you have. Today is your window. The future you dream of is built with the bricks you lay today. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need to build it all in one go. You just need to build faithfully, one action at a time. That's how momentum begins. That's how self-trust grows. That's how the gap between where you are and where you want to be begins to close. The challenge is that daily action doesn't always feel rewarding. You go to the gym, nothing changes. You read the book, no applause. You stay disciplined, nobody notices. But don't confuse silence for failure. Growth is often invisible at first. You're laying roots, not just branches. And in time, those roots produce fruit, health, wealth, peace, reputation, wisdom. Not because you rushed, but because you planted early and stayed faithful to the process. This is how empires are built, not in a week, not in a month, but over years of doing the right things long enough that they compound. You don't win life by betting big once. You win it by betting small every day in the right direction. A little patience, a little sacrifice, a little discipline, repeated over years, builds a life that looks effortless from the outside, but was earned in the dark through long-term vision and daily action. It's a natural impulse to want life to be easier, to hope that the challenges shrink, the obstacles vanish, the pressure eases up. We've all been there, looking at the mountain ahead and thinking, why can't this be simpler? But the truth is, the real winners in life don't spend their time wishing for easier paths. They put their energy into becoming stronger climbers. They understand that life doesn't get easier, you get better. That's the mindset shift that separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. When you face resistance, you have two choices. You can shrink to match the difficulty, or you can grow to rise above it. Most people waste precious energy trying to change the situation when what they really need is to change themselves. They want lighter burdens instead of stronger backs. But the growth is in the strain. The development is in the stretch. The strength is in the struggle. That's where character is built, where confidence is forged, not in the easy seasons, but in the demanding ones. Too many people live with the illusion that success comes to those with less resistance. They look at others who seem to have it all together and think, if I had their life, I'd be winning too. But they don't see the hours of effort, the years of discipline, the pain behind the polish. They see the shine, but not the sharpening. And in doing so, they rob themselves of the chance to grow through their own fire. Because the truth is, every champion was once a beginner who refused to quit when things got hard. There's a reason the most respected people in any field have scars. They've endured seasons of silence. They've walked through failure, faced rejection, dealt with setbacks, but they didn't spend that time asking life to go easy on them. They used that time to build something inside themselves. Grit, focus, patience. These qualities aren't given, they're developed. And they're developed through struggle. Struggle is not the enemy, it's the training ground. Think about how muscle is built. You lift weights, your muscles tear, they rebuild stronger. No pain, no growth. Life works the same way. If you never stretch beyond what's comfortable, you never expand your capacity. You never discover what you're truly capable of. And the most tragic thing isn't failure, it's unrealized potential. It's people who had what it takes but didn't rise to the occasion because they were too busy wishing things were easier instead of rising to meet the challenge. When you stop wishing for easier, you begin to ask better questions. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, What can I learn from this? You stop complaining about the weight and you begin to ask how you can lift it better. You begin to seek mentorship, develop discipline, build new habits, and increase your value. Suddenly, the mountain doesn't look smaller, but you feel bigger. You carry yourself differently because you know that you've done the work. You've earned your strength. Life has a way of giving more to those who prove they can handle it. When you develop yourself, you expand your capacity to receive. That's why personal growth isn't optional. It's the requirement for everything else. Better results demand a better you. More peace demands more emotional control. More money demands more financial wisdom. Better relationships demand more empathy, communication, and understanding. None of this comes from hoping for life to change. It comes from changing yourself. And the beautiful thing is that every challenge becomes an opportunity to sharpen yourself. Every difficulty becomes a classroom. Every setback becomes a lesson. But only if you choose to engage with it. Only if you refuse to run from it. Because nothing changes until you do. And once you embrace the challenge, once you stop waiting for ease and start chasing excellence, everything begins to shift. Not because the world got kinder, but because you got stronger. Because you became the kind of person who doesn't avoid difficulty. You transform through it. You rise because of it. You win, not because the game changed, but because you did. Life doesn't hand victories to the most talented, the luckiest, or the loudest. It rewards those who take ownership, who build themselves from the inside out, and who refuse to quit when the path gets steep. If you truly want to win at life, you must start by accepting full responsibility. No excuses, no pointing fingers, just ownership. From there, you shape your future through consistent habits, knowing that what you do daily becomes who you are permanently. You protect your energy by surrounding yourself with those who elevate your standards, not drain your potential. You build value before you expect a return, understanding that the world responds to contribution, not just desire. You stretch your vision toward the long term, but you act today knowing that delayed gratification builds unshakable results. And through it all, you stop asking for life to make things easier. You work on becoming better, tougher, wiser, more capable. Because success is not something you wish for, it's something you prepare for. It's not something you stumble into, it's something you build one decision, one habit, one mindset at a time.